then to go back is the Loft.
Okay. But hit that before I show it. Good afternoon and welcome to Leighton's Loft. Thanks for joining us today. How are you, Lou?
I'm doing very well. How did you enjoy your Sunday at Met Stadium?
Oh, Lou.
Oh no, well, it was still. Come on, it was still an NFL game with your kid. It was and your wife.
So we're
it's
going
a
to
good
talk.
time.
Seeing as how we have let the cat out of the bag, and I was going to save that for a little bit later the discussion, but it's fun to talk about to start. So for those of you that don't know, I subjected my family to the abuse known as the New York Jets on Sunday. I took them to the Jet game, and not only did I take them to the game, but we bought nice tickets for it. And it was a lovely day. It was beautiful outside. Hey, what's up, Chris, Jeff G, Donald? Thanks for joining us today on Leighton's Loft. Hey, Troy. And so, see, Chris Coe was smart. He went to the Chargers-Cowboys game.
He went to SoFi. Yeah, I saw the picture on his Facebook page.
Yeah, no, looked great. The weather-wise, both similar circumstances. However, the level of play was not similar. I asked Crosby what his favorite part of the game was, and he said ice cream. So I knew I won there. My wife was just a good sport, but to be fair, we've been dating. We've been together for a while, and so before we were married, I dragged her to an early Jets playoff game, so you can imagine how long ago that was, because they haven't been in the playoffs in forever. And it was just brutally cold, but I think we beat the Bengals at the time. And so anyway, kind of getting back to current day and the Jets game as it stood on Sunday. So the thing is, I went in there with so much hope. So much promise of a new day.
Yep.
And it's just not what happened. But that's actually not why I was disturbed. I was disturbed because, as you know, Lou, I know you're a big football fan.
Yeah.
Watching the game in person versus on TV is just different.
Yes.
In fact, the guy we had a crazy experience. We ended up taking an Uber to the game. We took an Uber to the game because we had heard that parking at MetLife is brutal. And what's up, Ricky? Thanks for joining us. We not only heard that it was brutal, when we looked online after purchasing our tickets, which, like I said, set us back a few bucks, but we were happy with that. We're thinking we're going to go in. We sat section 116, 10, 15 yard line, lower level, nice seats, great view of the game, 20 rows off the field, meaning like nice perspective. So the guy driving us to the game said, hey, you should try this. When you go to the game, watch the game live, but put on your headphones and listen to them announce it. It's kind of cool. And I didn't end up doing that.
Yeah. And with your family there.
Well, I'm with my family.
Yeah.
But also, the first several footballs thrown by Zach Wilson threw me all out of sorts.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason why I say that is, and I don't know, Matt, have you been to an NFL game live?
Yep.
So I know Matt's a big NFL fan. This is my question for you, Lou. So, if you had just watched Zach Wilson on TV and I had not watched the game on playback, and nor am I going to subject myself to that or anyone else.
Right.
But upon seeing the game in person and seeing, if you will, a wider vision of what he was looking at, meaning he, Mr. Zach Wilson,
Yep.
I'm highly disturbed. I'm really worried because some of the things I saw go wrong, I don't know that you learned them. He may have been nervous, right?
Yep.
I hope he was nervous. I hope there was something else going on. But one of the picks I saw that he underthrew, and by the way, there was no one behind the receiver.
Yep.
So you'd rather see him go long and, he just overthrew him or whatever the case is. Lou, he didn't seem like he had a good feeling for the game. And it seemed like the game was moving too fast for him.
See, you take me back. You take me back to my season ticket days with the Patriots, where it was Hugh Millen and it was Tony Easton.
Oh, Hugh Millen. Oh, that's gross.
Yeah, exactly. And I used to laugh because I used to say this is ridiculous because I can sit there and pick out coverages. Why can't he see it?
Because of the speed.
I know, yeah, it's the speed, and you don't have 300-pound guys chasing you around. And I understand all that, but I mean, even before the play reads and stuff like that, it's just weird. It gets so frustrating. I know exactly how you felt because those days, back with the Patriots weren't a very good football team at all either. But those days, it was like, if I can see this, why can't they see this? I'm just the guy sitting in the stands.
And the guy in front of me, thank God, he was like my consigliere. If he
Yep.
wasn't there, they definitely, like, they might have had to call the police. I might have been checked into an institution. I was just like losing my mind. I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
You missed the key component, though, of going to NFL Game Live. And I think we talked about this because, again, I was a season ticket holder for about 15 years. And last year with COVID and everything, my question was, these days you go to the game with a couple seats, it's $1,200, it's $1,500. And you go down and you do everything that you have to do, and you do all the parking and everything. And then it's a full day. You lose the whole day. And, you're just drained afterwards. And I wonder if people sitting home in 2020 would finally say, why am I paying $1,200 to go down to the game when I can sit here at home, grill, have all the alcohol I want, and just watch all the games and have a blast? I was wondering what the return was going to be like. And see, you missed this. You can't take the Jets. It's like the Patriots in those days when I was a season ticket holder. You can't take the Jets sober. You got to go down at like 9 a.m. And you
Thing is, I was with family. I had a drink at the game.
You did it exactly wrong. You got to go down at 9 a.m. and get drunk, and then go in and watch the game, and then get drunk after the game, and then sober up, and then drive home.
I should have called you in the morning that day. Obviously, I would have been advised with a better plan. By the way, Daniel Lynch's comment is right on. It is the angle. So I'm not stupid. I understand that. Like being 20 rows up, no one trying to attack me is a lot easier. What I was merely trying to say was that because I was able to see it so easily and he couldn't, that was my concern.
I understand that, again, the view is different. You got guys chasing you. You've got a lot of things in your line of view. You're at field level. You're not up in the stands. I understand all that. But by the same token, I'm not the number 2 pick in the draft either.
Listen, that's exactly it. That being said, we ate, we were merry. We got Crosby a Jets t-shirt. I mean, he really had a great time. He's like racing against the clock to eat his ice cream cone before it melts on him. It's like all over his face. So, we got great pictures. And the experience as a whole was fantastic. But you're absolutely right, Lou, and we didn't go to tailgate in the morning. It's basically like a half to a 3/4 day commitment.
And a fortune.
So, yeah, well, I mean, let's just say each ticket cost north of my $150 haircut.
It's worse than truffles, I think.
That's like, less than truffles, more than the haircut.
I was telling my girlfriend this story about being a season ticket holder. She goes, how much did you pay for season tickets? And I said, back in the day, I paid $660 a piece. You can't get in Gillette for $660 now.
Oh,
But
yeah.
that was the entire season for me, $660.
And Chris Coe brought it up. I really wanted to experience it with Crosby. Let's be honest, right? I don't take anything for granted anymore. We might not even be able to go to a football game in a month the way the world's going. You have no idea. So I just wanted to kind of get one under our belt. If the Yankees are fortunate enough to make the playoffs, I'll probably go with like a buddy or two to a game. I don't think I'll take Jules and Kraz. But I know for me, I didn't go to an NFL game until I was probably 15 years old. And I remember just being, wowed and like really excited to be there. And so I just wanted Crosby to experience it. So for that, yes, it was worth it.
It's a terrific thing for him to see. He's going to love it.
Yeah. So anyway, let's shift gears for a minute. Very exciting. We just got in some of the, all of the stuff, but I haven't gone through everything yet. We just picked up our winnings from our good friends at REA, Robert Edwards Auctions. Mm-hmm. And if you remember, I had mentioned a few weeks back a couple items that I had won, whether it be for Just Collector myself, it's not for Vintage Breaks. And I wanted to show them off on the camera today, Lou.
Okay, great.
So the first one, here we go, let me see. I think this is what I do. Oh, okay, great.
There we go.
So here is an original photograph from 1921 of Babe Ruth, and let's just call them players to be named later or photographers to be named later. But I love this photo for a variety of reasons.
Now, when you say an original photo, what qualifies it as an original photo?
Oh, sure. So PSA designated as a Type 1. So a Type 1 photograph is something that I believe was struck off the original negative within 1 year of the date of the event.
Okay, so this picture has some age on it as well.
Oh yeah, this picture is from 1921.
Okay. Oh, excellent. Yeah.
Or photographs. So the only thing I didn't love about it, and it's funny because I got so hung up on it, and this is my advice from a veteran telling you can still make mistakes. This was not bought for resale. I thoroughly love it. However, when looking at it on the screen, I absolutely forgot to look at the dimensions of the photograph.
Oh.
So when I got it in, I'm like, honey, I shrunk my photograph?
Yeah, smaller than you expected. Huh?
Smaller than I expected, I want to be honest. However, it's crystal clear. And besides Ruth facing forward, 1921 is very important in the New York Yankees history. It is the first season in the new Yankee Stadium. It is also their first time they made the World Series. So in terms of historical importance, I thought that was there. And I don't know, it could just be me. I think the photographers add a bunch of, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, maybe character.
Yeah.
But this, to me, reeks of the time period. So in other words, if you just see Ruth without the photographers, still a great photo. But seeing the photographers and their equipment and the top hats, really just, it felt like a little piece of art to me.
I was going to say it dates it. It puts it in you put it right. It puts it in a period, and it kind of links the baseball world to the real world at the time, what people were actually wearing, how they looked, how they dressed. It's really an interesting study.
Absolutely. What's up, Joe? Thanks for joining us, Ben. What's going on, Matt?
Ruth looks like a middle-aged father. He's got a dad bod going there.
Oh, yeah. So what's amazing is he was destroying the baseball at that time period.
Yep.
So that is the first Babe Ruth item that I wanted to show off from REA. This is the second one, and I think I mentioned a few weeks ago when I first talked about winning this at auction. What's wild is I have this same card in very similar grade, but it was being reholdered at PSA. Mm-hmm. And because it was sent in pre-PSA shutting things off, like I didn't pay to have it expedited because you weren't doing that at that time to just do like a reholder. It was mislabeled by PSA when I originally bought it. And so when I got that in shortly after this auction ended. And I said, oh shit, looks like I have a couple Ruths. I'll figure out, what I'm going to do. It's not a bad problem to have. But the reason why I love this card, beyond being from 1922, is the tremendous eye appeal of it. And for me, growing up, I frequented Lancaster, Pennsylvania, because my parents were big fans of like Amish country and antiquing. And so I went there a lot as a young kid, not willingly. But the two things I would get out of going with them was the search for baseball cards, even if I couldn't buy them. I just loved looking for older cards. And then you bet your bottom dollar, like I would eat whatever delicacies they had of the area, candy or pretzels or, who knows.
Is there a baseball card market among the Amish?
There was a flea market that was very active.
Really?
Back when my parents would go. Now the area's changed.
An Amish flea market?
Well, I can't say it was Amish, but I know to me, we called it Amish country. I remember going in the buggies with my, my brother and sisters and like smelling the horse poop. So, we would go to like the buffets, you paid by the pound, like all sorts of crazy stuff going on out there. But this is a 1922 E120 American Caramel Babe Ruth. Now it's only graded a 1, but check this out. Put your finger over this little paper loss, okay?
Yep.
If you put your finger over that paper loss and you had to put a grade on the condition of this card, oh my Jesus criminy. This card is probably like a 6.
Yeah.
Which is absurd. So a 6 of this card would be tens of thousands of dollars.
Wow.
I did not pay that. I am more than happy with the little paper loss here and not paying tens of thousands of dollars. This is the kind of card that I love.
Yeah. It's a really nice value, and you got a little hole in the card there.
You got a little paper loss right here, but I got to tell you, it doesn't really detract from it.
Yep. No, I didn't notice it till you pointed it out, actually. Of course, we're working on a screen, but...
Yeah, of course. So when you flip it over, it's got a beautiful back, maybe a slight bit of foxing like right there in the middle. But then this is what got me at the bottom, where it says American Caramel Company, Lancaster, Pennsylvania. You know, just as a kid, for me to like hold this in my hands, to be able to afford it, to be able to hold on to it and own it and not have to sell it, you know, ever or any reasonably time soon, it means a lot to me personally, because I remember going to those, let's say, flea markets or antique shops, and literally, like, if I went into an antique shop and I found cards, I was a hysterical kid. I'm like, Dad, Mom, I found cards. It didn't matter what it cost. It didn't matter if it was a good deal. And I would say more often than not, I would walk out with no cards because they were too expensive, or, you know, who knows, you know, why, but generally they were just too expensive. And I absolutely remember seeing early E120s in low grade. I don't remember seeing Ruth, but back in that area. And, you know, even for a common back as a kid, it might have been $50. I didn't have $50 as a 11-year-old kid going antique shopping with my parents. So to be able to have this Ruth and, you know, to own it brings me a lot of pride in ownership, you know, knowing what that 10 or 11-year-old kid was dealing with at the time, you know?
Yeah. I don't know if you know this or not, but I do some other podcasts with a ghost hunter and witches, literal witches, and mediums. And I'm looking at that card and I'm thinking, no, what we need is a baseball tarot set. That's what we need.
Oh, yeah.
That looks like a tarot card.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited about it, and happy to, you know, to have it picked up. You've got some other great stuff. We'll show it off over the coming weeks. But speaking of auction houses, I don't know if you had a chance to tune into Trading Card Therapy yesterday.
I haven't seen the episode yet. No.
We were talking quite a bit about auction houses, and I thought it might be interesting to talk about it for a few minutes to kind of give a synopsis of what yesterday's topic was.
Excellent.
So yesterday, gang, for those of you that missed Trading Card Therapy, we were talking about how to best interact with auction houses when you're going to consign something to them, meaning give something to them to sell for you. And then towards the end of the episode, we kind of ran out of time to get into a little bit of a deeper dive. But we talked about buying out of auction houses and how to do that successfully. And I commented, because I saw a particular piece of content recently on Instagram about how you can buy lots out of auction houses, and whether it be at 17 baseballs or 12 cards or whatever the case is, then it's kind of like it's a deal. And what I was talking about yesterday towards the end was I respectfully disagree with that, meaning you still have to do your homework. Just because they put a group of 12 baseballs together or 53 cards doesn't mean there's going to be a deal. And furthermore, you have to understand that these auction houses are generally higher end, so meaning people value their time. And so you might go through, Lou, and add up all 13 of the baseballs in that lot and ask yourself, why did it sell for more than the lot is actually worth? Because they didn't want to go out and have to find the 13 baseballs from different spots.
Right. Plus, what they've avoided is what you should consider as well, the work and costs involved in selling them individually.
Very much so. So, you know, a lot of times people think that when these lots are sold at auctions, you know, they have to go to dealers because dealers will break them up. In an ideal world for me, yes, that's true. But understand that we're not the only person that would be going after a lot. So I could see someone who's working on a signed baseball collection and maybe is even just getting started. You know what? Even if I overpay $10 a ball, I get them all at once. It's like Christmas morning. You know, like there's just so many different reasons why the lot could sell for more than it's actually worth. So I just wanted to make sure I took a moment to caution those that are bidding in auctions and think that if it's sold in a lot, then it must be a good deal.
But isn't it self-evident that if the auction house thought that they could make more selling them individually, that's exactly what they'd do?
No, and the reason being is, Lou, you have to understand that the auction house is the platform that it's being sold on, and they want to win every time. And so in order to do that, they can't, let's just make it up here. Let's say those 13 baseballs are worth $2,500.
Right.
So divide it up, that's about $200 a baseball. They can't sell a $200 baseball profitably, but they can sell a $2,500 lot profitably.
Oh, I see. So they have a price point at which they start making money. A $200 ball isn't worthwhile for them.
Nope. They'll, with the fixed price, with the fixed cost of their business and the catalog, and once again, shout out to Leland's, my second job after school. I learned a lot about the auction house business. It's fascinating. Yes, you cannot afford to, if you have no catalog, then maybe. But if you have a catalog, there's absolutely no way to profitably sell a $200 item.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yep. So something to keep in mind when bidding in auctions. And then when it comes to consigning in auctions, I wanted to reiterate what we were talking about yesterday, that super high level, Lou, Ken was here and Matt were here for it. When you consign to auctions, i.e. giving them an item or a group of items to sell for you for a fee, the best type of items to give them are the ones that are special and unique. So I use the idea of, for example, a Roberto Clemente rookie. If you have a Roberto Clemente rookie in a 3, grade of 3, it's like 1,500. If you want to feel better about giving it to an auction house, so be it. But understand, it's commoditized at that point, and there really isn't anything special about it other than, I don't want to take anything away from Mr. Clemente,
Sure.
other than it being a Clemente rookie in a 3, it's already commoditized. It's already worth basically $1,500, and maybe it's 2,000, whatever the number is. It's worth in that range. The point is that's not something that I personally would give to an auction house to sell on consignment for me, because I don't think there's a lot of upside. As I mentioned on yesterday's broadcast, you can't bid in $1 increments. So the next bid after $1,500 might be $1,650, meaning 10% higher. It might be $1,750. It's not $1,525. So the chance of you getting like a little bit more, it's not that easy to do when you're boxed in and that value has been defined and is known in the marketplace. Now let's rewind and use that same example of Roberto Clemente rookie, but you have a PSA 8.5. You might be able to sell it on your own. You might be able to list it on eBay, but that card is tens of thousands of dollars. And because it is high grade, tough to find in that grade, i.e. look at the population report, and now an investment grade, there's a number of different people that might bid on that card.
Right.
And also the higher the dollar of the transaction, the more likely you're going to want someone else to kind of, if you will, broker it for you. So that's a spot where I could see on the same card, but just a different grade, giving it to an auction house to sell for me.
You have to consider the market in this case, because the people who are going to auction houses aren't going to be interested in a 3. That's not the level they're playing at. They're playing at a much higher level. You got to find something that would interest them.
Yes, but understand though, they're a business. So if you come to them with $1,500 items that might sell for $1,300 or $1,100, they're not going to turn you down. This is why I'm trying to arm our Vintage Breaks and Just Collect community with good value and a good understanding of how to best approach dealing with auction houses, so that you can take a step back the next time you're going to potentially consign to one of them. And the last part of it, just to give a summary of yesterday's chat, was a lot of people don't realize this, but when you consign to an auction house, they might tell you, I'm making it up, the consignment fee is 15%. And if you don't think about it, you might just say, oh, okay, and you sign the contract. But the reality of it is, like many things in life, it could be negotiable. And it is absolutely more negotiable the more desirable, special, and unique your item or items are.
I see. Yeah.
So just some
And
tips.
it's not necessarily the high end, because I'm sure auction houses would like a very unique item. It helps their catalog. It helps their business. It helps their branding too. If they have as many unique items as possible in their auctions.
Very much so. So once again, anyone has ever questions for me in the future about consigning to an auction house or even buying from an auction house, hit me up directly. If you could drop my email in there, Leighton@justcollect.com. One thing I guess we could spend another minute on in terms of buying from auction houses, people always ask me, well, Leighton, how can you buy a single card out of an auction house? And so, for example, that Babe Ruth, I'm not going to sell that for a while. So certainly that's one way, meaning I get to see special and unique items. And so I recognize that they may not be on eBay or may not be at every card show I see. But I would also say that if you look at an auction, there's absolutely a strategy. We could spend a whole episode on just this alone. I've become very good at implementing my bidding strategy in auctions. So, for example, let's just take this Roberto Clemente. Not the 8.5. No, guys, I'm not Daddy Warbucks. I can't just buy an 8.5 and I'd be looking for a new place to live. That being said, a 3 is not only a card I would buy for Just Collect, it's a card I'd buy for Vintage Breaks. We'll just use that number of $1,500 as the value. So let's talk about how that would go down in the auction house. If you pay $1,500 all in, you're basically going to bid $1,250 plus 20% buyer's premium. That's $1,500, right?
Yep.
So back when I had a little bit more time on my hands and I was bidding even more in auction houses, what I would do is on that first day or the first 48 hours of an auction, I would go in and let's just say the max bid I want to bid is $12.50 plus the juice.
Right.
I'd bid like $11.50. Meaning, if it somehow makes a mistake, the auction, and it doesn't go for full freight, I've already taken the spot just underneath what I believe is the full retail value.
Right.
And I've been able to scoop up a lot of items like that by putting in my bid early, taking that spot in line. And what I mean is, once again, only one person can bid that. So if someone else comes and bids $11.50 after me, Lou, they're second. I've bid first. Therefore, I'm bidding $11.50.
Oh, I didn't understand that.
Oh, yeah.
So
There's a lot of strategy.
each price point, you grab that price point and no one else can bid the same thing. Interesting.
Correct. And if they bid it, depending on the auction house, there's always different rules and different nuances across them. But in general, Lou, only one person can bid that number. So if someone else, like Chris Coe, comes in and bids $11.50, it's going to say he's outbid, but he's not outbid by a higher bid. That $11.50 was just before him.
Right. And there are incremental bids, so there's a limited amount of bids that can be placed.
Exactly. So there is a real strategy to incorporate and to practice when bidding in auctions. Once again, if I can be of any assistance or service to anyone, please drop me a line, Leighton@justcollect.com.
Yeah, so you find that sweet spot right below the value of it where the next incremental price might be a little higher than people should pay, but you get that slot right below it.
Yep. And the last item I was going to cover about bidding in auctions, because, it's all fun. But to me, this last category is the one that I personally love the most. And it's, hey, I want to win this item. I don't see it very often. I don't know exactly what it's worth, but I really want it. And notice how I didn't say what it was. It could be a photo. It could be a card. It doesn't matter. So what I'm about to say may make you nervous or uncomfortable, but I can tell you undoubtedly it has worked for me to win a number of items at auction over the years that were special to me. So the strategy is very simple. Let's just say you think an item is worth $2,000, and you might choke for a minute when I say this. You bid something above it. I'm not even telling the amount, but you'll see what I'm getting to. You bid something above it that if someone outbids you, you are not going to be upset that person paid X amount of dollars. So for example, and this is not for every $2,000 item, right? But let's just say there's a $2,000 item. Or let's say it's a photo, because with photos, you don't really know what they're worth, Lou.
Right.
If I really wanted a photo that was worth $2,000 and I thought it was worth $2,000, but I really wanted it, I'm going to hold it for Kraz and it's going to be in our family for a couple decades, I might bid somewhere between 100 and 150% more than I think it's worth.
Wow.
So if I think it's $2,000, that's what it's worth, but I really want it, I just put in my ceiling of $4,000 or $4,500. I don't think about it. Now, to be fair and clear, I'd rather stay up till the end and bid, but I can't do that. I'm only one person.
Right.
And so I would say, and this is a shout out, I'm not going to name any auction houses. I've bid plenty of times in auctions with my ceiling bid, and although sometimes it does get hit, there's plenty of times my ceiling bid does not get hit. Therefore, I'm paying less than I actually put into the bidding software to bid for that item.
Right.
And so, once again, if it's something a little bit outside your wheelhouse, but you feel like it's special and you want to win it, you want to go home with it, it's just something that's worked for me. I know how it could be scary because you're putting yourself out there that have that exposure of being bid up. But I'll just say I've been around the block, and at the end of the day, I don't worry about what I can't control.
Yep.
And I've won a number of really great pieces through the years doing that.
You mentioned photos specifically, and you mentioned them because their price is less defined than, say, cards are. I'm guessing that strategy works really well with cards because people don't, I'm guessing they don't tend to pay beyond the established price of it unless you run into another guy who, quote unquote, really wants it.
I would tell you that Babe Ruth that I just showed you made me nervous. I thought I was going to win it for a couple $1,000s less, but I really wanted it. I happened to be up, so I just kept bidding, and I have to say it was very exhilarating. That being said, it's like the Seinfeld, episode where, they have this big dinner, and then Jerry talks about the check. I was really hungry then. I don't really feel that hungry now, and I have this check. I have to pay for this?
Yeah.
So it's the same kind of thing. I was all excited to win the Babe Ruth. I guess I really have to pay for it. That's when it becomes a little bit less exciting.
Yeah, yeah. There's a little period in between though where you can get a little giddy because you won. Because not only did you get the card you want, you won.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And to be fair, it's so interesting, right? I love this this I don't know if it's marketing or if it's just what's happened in the auction house world. Any other time, J5 standing next to me here, any other time J5 and I are buying cards, you know, we're buying something. We're buying a collection. We're acquiring a collection. Man, when you win something out of an auction, you're just buying it. You're just acquiring it. But no one says you bought it. No one says you acquired it. You say I won it because it feels better. It's just the truth.
In fantasy baseball, one of the dispersal techniques is a auction draft, where you go in and you actually auction off players.
Sure.
Go from there, and sometimes you got to keep yourself from getting carried away just because you want to win the auction because you're bidding against.
Oh, are you kidding me? I remember one year I paid like $68 for Mike Trout, and like my relief pitchers, you know, were my brother and like a guy that used to live next to me when I was 11.
But you have that immediate reaction of, "Hey, I won Trout. I paid $68."
Of course, I paid $68 for him, and I had no other team. But anyway, I thought that was good information to share. Also on the Loft today, because we got to cover a few angles that maybe we ran out of time yesterday on trading card therapy. So if you want to check out yesterday's episode, it will drop on Friday. I think it's episode 6. Hope you all enjoyed me talking a little bit more about auction houses and how to interact and deal with them a little bit more today. Drop me a line if I can help you. I wanted to shift gears here, and this is why J5 is standing over me. So we have a here, let me show it here. We have a package that just came in with yet another collection to us here at Just Collect. Now, this means it was sent to us FedEx, right?
That's just to the bottom. No tape. Just like
Wait, there was no tape?
So I will start from right there.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Do we know what's in here, or are we?
I mean, I think I know what's in here.
The first time, yeah.
So we want to open it from here. Yeah. All right, so he's making me nervous. Because this is not how I would ship a package that could be worth thousands of dollars.
No.
I mean, like literally, you could just go in there and get a cookie, you know?
Yeah.
So, do we know what state this is from?
Connecticut.
It's from Connecticut, so not far. Oh, we don't need a knife. We're just going to go right in there. Oh, my God.
How easy that is.
Very easy, but at the same time, like very nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Wow, good styrofoam. This is nice. I like that.
Looks custom made.
Yeah. This is... Oh, okay. It is from a Roger in Connecticut.
Roger.
Yep. Put this back on camera. Looks like he included the original box, which is cool.
That's what I was hoping.
What?
I was hoping.
Yeah, so this is going to be great, guys. For full disclosure, we do not own this yet. We are hoping to own it. The reason why we're sharing it with you on Leighton's Loft with Vintage Breaks and our Just Collect community, Lou, is because to me, I think it's really fun to open up stuff in the mail and not know the exact condition or exactly what you're getting. I did remember J5 mentioned this vaguely the other day, and I did nail it when you asked me what I thought it was. That being said, I'm anxious to see the condition and see how they look.
Yeah, and it's a surprise for all of us.
He's very happy that the package arrived safely.
Good, so am I.
And also, it's between us and one other company.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Now, does he have an offer already?
Yes.
Oh.
He didn't tell me the offer.
Well, of course not. Why would he tell you the offer?
Know what our offer would be.
That's cool. So this is really, I mean, listen, obviously I hope we get it, but this is what's going on behind the curtain here. Yep. So we've been sent the cards. We have a great reputation at Just Collect. We've spent tens of millions of dollars over the last 20 years on vintage cards. And so that being said, realize it's a very competitive marketplace. So part of the way that we're able to get as much as we do is we pay very, very fairly. We pay very strong.
Yeah.
So J5 just described to you what's going on. We're going to look at this. We're going to assess it. We're going to make the best offer possible. Does not mean that we'll get it. We hope we do, but we already know we're competing against at least one other person or one other company.
If you guys would like your comments on the screen, you got to be watching on the Leighton's Loft Facebook page or the Just Collect Facebook page, but not the Vintage Breaks YouTube or Facebook page. If you want your comments on the screen, go to the Leighton's Loft Facebook page and watch the show from there.
Hey, Jim, thanks for joining us. This is super cool. This is an original box
Hi, Chef.
that the 1929 Kashins were issued in.
Oh, my. Look at that.
So how cool is that? They were issued in 4 series of 25. What many people don't know is Babe Ruth was included in all of them. So he's quadruple printed,
Oh, wow.
and it doesn't even matter.
Wait a second. Same card or 4 different cards?
Same card.
Oh, interesting.
So every time they made a series of 25, Ruth was in the box.
Oh, wow.
But the other 24 players were different.
And were they distributed other than in a 25 card set?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
So we're excited to take these out and share. I did want to throw out there, I completely forgot, we're going to give away a $50 break credit to Vintage Breaks today following the end of Leighton's Loft. You'll have to answer a trivia question live on our YouTube stream, where you can find us at youtube.com/vintagebreaks at approximately 5:30 Eastern time today. We'll be streaming till 9:30 here. And then at 9:30, we'll turn it on over to Sir Charles and Vintage Breaks West. What's up, Dom? Thanks for joining us. What's up, Tyler?
Yep. I'm excited too.
Great color on this box.
Very cool.
Now, how awesome is this?
Look at that.
A galaxy of baseball stars. This, by the way, I didn't take this out, but I just knew. This is exactly what I talked about. There were 4 boxes you could have got, 4 series: orange, blue, coral, and canary. Which I gotta be honest with you, that's pretty creative colors for 1929.
Not pink. Cool.
Yeah, not pink. Canary. So, also, this is the way they sold them. A Babe Ruth picture in every box.
Every box, of course.
So the series consists of 100 portraits, but you got a Ruth in every 25.
I'm sorry, what year was this again?
1929.
1920.
Hey, what's up, Mike D? Thanks for joining us. Happy belated. All right, so I'm going to take out who is in this collection. I want to make sure I preserve the box. What's up, Tom? Cautions were blank-backed.
Really?
Yes. That's so awesome. Did he say why he still has this? Like, is it a family relic? Did he collect?
He hasn't told me all the details yet.
Okay. Hold on to that. Hold on to that. Let's put this in view because I think this thing is awesome. Like, I would keep this. If we buy this collection, I'm going to keep this.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And I probably would keep one card with it as like a sample. Charles Gehrig, Hall of Famer. Should we just run through them like this, maybe? We'll look at them together.
Absolutely.
So, first glance, they look like they're in pretty nice shape. Whoa. Lefty Grove, Hall of Famer.
Yep. No logos or
Ad Lisco. Let's see on the next card. I think I can see it. I think I can see a logo.
Yep.
They have logos.
Okay, great.
Howard Emke. They are all in black and white, but I like that they're real photographs.
Yeah. Not stage. It was
Exactly.
Like warm-up photographs.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that one's staged.
Earl
but-
Coombs from the Yankees.
Dom asked if PSA grades those.
They do.
Yeah.
Mark Koenig. There's very active collectors of this on the PSA set registry. Former Yankee. I think it was a 27 Yankee, Mark Koenig. Charlie Jameson. So far, so good in terms of condition. Willie Cam of Chicago.
Interesting follow through.
Yep, 1929, Tom. I can't read his first name too well. Last name is Thomas. Abraham?
Abraham.
Okay. It's in a very hard to read script. I see Ruth coming up 2 away. Mr. English. Ah, there he is. Babe Ruth. So that card was the same card that would have appeared in all 4 boxes, Lou. So let me get a card saver 4. So there, I don't have the light on here, but I see in the upper left A little bit of a wrinkle. The corners are strong otherwise. I'd have to take a look. I'd have to take a look under my light to see the other wear. But my guess is between a 3 and a 4 in terms of condition. But a very nice 3 to 4.
Beautiful.
And as I said, blank backed. Let's just get them in a holder, because why not?
Was that 25 cards?
Oh, we're not done.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow. So I did not know this. I didn't remember. Lou Gehrig is also in this group. Now, Gehrig is very hard to find. He was not quadruple printed. He was only issued in one of the 4 series. And Gehrig is very, very difficult to find. I've only had a handful of Gehrigs through the years. Let me give you an idea of the condition. Oh, Jesus criminy. This is fantastic. So this card, at first glance, once again, I can't see any wrinkles and stuff so easy in the light here. This is a solid X. So like a 5 out of 10, maybe even a 5.5. Mm-hmm. That's special.
So there's a market for these cards.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This is great.
Daniel says a PSA 4 of Ruth is $5,000.
Yep. Oh, yeah, no, this collection is thousands of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, let me remind everyone how it was sealed. Oh, it wasn't sealed. That's what I remember. Yeah, no, it's crazy.
Card with $5,000.
Yeah. Urban Faber, Hall of Famer. Nice card. It's hard to read the script backwards.
Yeah.
Fred Schulte.
Oh, yep.
I like that. I like that. That shot.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Zachary of the Yanks. Oscar Malillo. He was one of the first 1934 Gowdy cards I had. I got Oscar Malillo from my father when I was 13. I think it says Harry Rice, but I'm wondering if that's Sam Rice.
It's funny you bring that up because I would have pictured I had this in my head as certainly after the Gowdies, but this is pre-Gowdies. Right?
Yes. Roy Johnson. Just goes to show you, Lou, how big baseball was in the country.
Yeah.
In the 1920s. I mean, they're coming out with something like as esoteric as this.
It's the guy in the background.
Heine Manouche was one of the other 4 cards that I got from my father when I was 13.
It makes the Gowdy set decision interesting, doesn't it? Because photography was there. I'm sure photography still had some kind of cachet back then, and yet they went to an art form in 33. They went to art.
Yep.
Interesting decision.
Agreed. Dazzy Vance of Brooklyn. Freddie Leach. Lou Fonseca of Cleveland. Hey, what's shaking, Monty? Sam Rice, Hall of Famer. Waite Hoyt, Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
And Joe Sewell. He's a good ball player.
Not a Hall of Famer.
He was a good ball player.
Yep.
Well, that was fantastic. I'm looking forward to bringing these home and doing the eval on them later. I'll give that to you. I'll give this to you as well. And I'll show off Gehrig and Ruth one more time.
Ruth loaded on the back foot. Gehrig loaded on the front foot.
So I hope you enjoyed that little show and tell.
Oops.
Sorry about that.
Nope, my fault.
Yeah, that was a really nice collection, Lou.
Yeah, excellent. I didn't even know that existed, so that's completely new to me.
And that box definitely is not easy to find. Super cool to be part of that.
And still very colorful, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be interested in the backstory as well, how he came to have this.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm also curious because we bought a really nice Kashin collection. You could check it out on our blog at blog.justcollect.com several years ago with multiple Ruths. And I'm just curious. I always like to think about this. Like, I wonder if they were in Connecticut. Because Kashins were not, sold in every state. I can pretty much guarantee it.
Oh, so there was a limited distribution of
I
it.
think so. If I had to guess, it might have been regional.
Now we're assuming that that's the 25 cards in that particular set, but sometimes I'm guessing they could get mixed up too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. Glad that you guys enjoyed it as well. It's my pleasure sharing it, and I'll keep everyone posted, of course, on the progress. See if we get it. So the
I love
last topic.
when you open them on the air. I love that.
Oh yeah, it was great. I was a little nervous. Like J5 was showing me the other side, and I couldn't at first. I'm like, oh wait a minute, it's not taped. I'm like, did you do that? No, so that was a little crazy. I'm glad I got here okay. So I wanted to talk about the Philly show this weekend. Let me just verify the website, but I believe it's phillyshow.com. So Daniel Lynch will be there. We'll have some other Vintage Breaks customers and community members be there as well. You can check out all the details of the upcoming show this weekend at phillyshow.com. My buddy Mike might be coming down with his son. My buddy Liddy might be coming down with his 2 kids. So these shows have become a lot more... Oh, did I do that, Lou?
No, I did that.
Okay.
I was going to put this up.
Thanks, Lou. So we'll be there this weekend. No guarantees. I told them we needed to know by tomorrow. We were trying to do something with Randall Cunningham and Allen Iverson.
Very nice.
We'll have to see. Working through the agents, you know how that can be, right?
Yep.
That being said, we're really looking forward to the show. And I want to talk just for a few minutes about our preparation for it. And then, if we have time, talk about putting myself in someone else's shoes, meaning as a collector, investor, hybrid, if you will, walking to the show or walking the show. How would you prepare? So, in particular for this weekend, what's nice is we can drive there, so we can bring a little bit more stuff than usual. However, when I go to these shows, and this may sound strange, and for those who've seen me at the shows can probably attest to this, although I certainly want to sell, it's not really the main reason why I go to the show. I go to the show because it's an amazing place to network. And it could be an amazing place to network for Just Collect. It could be an amazing place to network for Vintage Breaks. It could be an amazing place to network as an entrepreneur and learning about emerging businesses in the space, whether it be you want to, buy into one of those businesses, have your own vision of a parallel business. And so, and of course the people that I see at the shows. And there's always going to be stuff to buy, to sell, to trade. And so with about, 36 hours left to go, 48 hours left to go before we arrive on Friday morning, I wanted to share with you, some of it's exciting, some of it's not as exciting. But I wanted to share with you a little bit about what I do and the team does to prepare for going to the convention this weekend. So first and foremost, you bet your bottom dollar, got to bring cash.
Yep.
So it's not nearly as easy to get cash these days. I have no idea why. Even if you have it in your account, it doesn't matter. So we're taking out cash from 2 different banks tomorrow because I just didn't want to fight the one bank. So I'm just going to go to 2 branches.
Yep. 2 branches of the same bank.
2 branches of the same bank, yes.
I like it.
Yep, 2 branches of the same bank. I have a safety deposit box at one of those banks, so I tend to go to that bank a little bit more.
Yep.
But the other bank, which is a little bit Wells Fargo, which is a little bit closer to my house, they're just very nice, and they're always accommodating, and they understand what I'm trying to do, and so that's first and foremost. Mm-hmm. Second is in terms of preparation, I got to bring checks, and you might ask, well, wait a minute, I thought you were bringing cash.
Yep.
So I want to explain to folks how I manage my cash at the show. Once again, if this is boring or not interesting, I apologize, but I just thought, might as well talk about it a little bit because we're going this weekend. So when I buy at the shows, Lou, I generally try to reserve my cash for walk-ins. Walk-ins being someone who's coming into the show, paying their admission, they're not set up. Likely we've never met before, but we have a huge buying sign that will be there at the show, at our booth. Mm-hmm. And, we've attracted a bunch of walk-ups through the years. And to be fair, people refer us business too.
Sure.
And so what I found is even though I've wrote checks and have successfully purchased a lot of cards from those types of walk-ins, every now and then someone doesn't want to take your check.
Yep.
And though usually when that happens, they're even more special, the collections.
Yep.
They tend to be. So I like to make sure that I'm armed with both cash and checks so that when I start to buy at the show, like all the dealers, all the people I know at the show, they'll happily take my check or take our check.
Sure.
And to be fair, I've successfully bought from collectors and other people I don't know well from the floor because our company has a really good reputation. However, all that aside, somebody could come in with, and this has happened to me, a $25,000 vintage collection. That's great stuff. They're reasonable to work with. You could tell them till you're blue in the face that I'm known. Like in that, what is it? I don't know. It's his Bronx Tale. I'm known. Yep. I'm known in all the 5 boroughs. I'm known.
Right.
Like at the end of the day, in real life, it doesn't always work. And if you really want to procure and secure that collection, sometimes you need cash. So
and cash can raise the impulse level for people too.
Well, cash does that, Lou, and it also closes deals. Let me tell you, when you give someone a piece of paper that says, I will promise to pay you this money, i.e. that's what my check says.
Yep.
It's a little bit of a different feeling.
Sure.
They also can't spend that at the show.
Plus, it's not, you talk about taking money out of banks, how difficult that is. Imagine cashing a $25,000 check, a $20,000 check.
Yeah, you're probably better off depositing it, but yes.
Yeah, of course.
Very good point, Lou. So that's first and foremost where I'm prepared. Second is the vintage break side of things. And so the team will ask me a number of, different things about the show. I just saw Monty's comment.
I feel like my Italian heritage is being challenged here.
I think so, Lou.
Yep.
Anyway, when it comes to going to the show, we've now talked about bringing cash, bringing checks. Also, what's important to me is to make sure that Vintage Breaks and Just Collect will be taken care of. So for Vintage Breaks, our team generally manages most of it. And on the
let me ask you about the cash check thing the other way with customers to dealers, because first of all, a lot of people are paying with debit cards or credit cards. There's a transaction fee involved in that. Plus, I'm guessing dealers are a little leery about taking checks too, especially for sizable amounts.
Yeah. So, you mean for selling? Like what kind of currency would I take?
For customers, yeah. I'm guessing cash is a good thing to have on hand for.
I like cash. No. I like cash. If I've done business with you, a check is fine.
Yep.
We will take PayPal as long as everything kind of matches up. And, listen, trading is back in vogue. So, if you come up to my booth and you're interested in a card and you say, hey, I have such and such a trade, show me what you got. Happy to try to deal.
But cash on hand for a customer is a good thing. It'll get you a better price. It'll, again, it raises the impulse level, helps you get the deals done.
On both ways.
Yep.
If you're buying from me and you're going to give me a check, I'm going to be honest, I'm less likely to move or move as much.
Right.
But definitely, I highly encourage all the collectors out there, or if you're a hybrid, like a collector, investor, whatever, bring a few cards, even if you think you're not going to sell. Because what if you run into a grail or something that you just love and it's a little bit pricier than you'd like?
Yep.
And you're like, well, I have these cards at home. Sure, and the show's in 3 months. Like that's not going to work.
Right.
So do yourself a favor, pack a little, bag, or box, whatever the case may be. Bring a half dozen to a dozen graded cards. If you only have ungraded, then bring a half dozen to a dozen ungraded cards. It's not about anything other than trying to have that ammunition. And then I would suggest this, because I know I've seen this. A lot of people out there have bulk. We had the whole episode on Thinning the Horde.
Yep.
I like when people do this. They'll come up to me and they'll have, I'm making it up, 200 cards in a box. And I look at it literally in 3 seconds. I'm like, what do you, I'm not really interested in this. What are you trying to do?
Right.
And then I figure out they have very reasonable expectations. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, these might make great bonuses for Vintage Breaks.
Yeah, there you go.
Have you heard of us? Sometimes we buy for break credit. Sometimes we trade them. We'll give them a spot in a break. Sometimes I'll simply trade them cards I have, meaning from Just Collect and, whatever the case may be.
Yep.
But shows are a great place to acquire cards like that because, Lou, it's not that easy for I'm just choosing someone random from the audience, Mike Dorr, to say, Leighton, I have 270s cards. They're all stars. Like, how does he get me that info? Is he going to take pictures of 200 cards? Is he going to send me 20 cards? You know, so when you have bulk, when I say bulk, 200 cards, 1,000 cards, pack a box, pack a bag, because what may not be that valuable to you or important to you, I'm not saying it's valuable or important to me, but you can move that box of that bulk and come away with a cherry or 2 cherries or you know, just something that you like a little bit more.
Might fit a need for a dealer that it wouldn't fit for an individual collector.
Very much so, and I could see why. Like when someone shows me 200 cards, it's burdensome to try to sell 200 ungraded vintage cards that are worth all of $150 as a group.
Right.
You know, you're limited on your options. Card shows are a great place to get rid of that kind of stuff.
Excellent.
What time we got, Lou?
About
we got a couple minutes.
Yep.
So, one of the last things I wanted to cover, and I used to be horrible at this, I figured out some sort of cadence and pattern that works for me. So I'm horrible at setting up because I love cards, because I don't actually care if I sell them, even though I know it's terrible to say as a businessman.
Right.
But the reality of it is there's plenty of other business to do besides just selling my cards. That makes any sense?
Yep.
And so what I've tried to do now is I focus on less is more. So instead of Robert's not in here right now, but man, like even something as simple as the Philly show, which is a couple hours away, Robert would like develop hives 48 to 72 hours before, because he would ask me like, what do we want to bring? I'm like, Robert, bring it all.
Bring it all. Yeah.
And then what happens is when you bring it all, I can't find anything. Yep. Nothing's priced. And so you know what? I'm going to spend some time this evening and tomorrow in the evening. It's just kind of, good thing to do late, listen to some music. And I'm going to solidify some prices for, I'm making it up, anywhere from 25 to 150 graded cards. I take some of my eBay inventory. I take some fresh inventory. I don't worry about a certain amount. I just worry about having a nice offering. And then, Sam, are you out here or no? No, he's up front.
Yes, I am.
Oh, great. So something I'm going to do this time that I thought would be cool. Last time at Philly, do we have 2 display cases, then 1 over here, so it's 4 and 1? I think so?
I think so.
So, Lou, what I'm going to do this time is take an entire display case, and I'm probably going to bring 1 to 2 collections with me that we purchased recently that I haven't even processed yet.
Right.
And I'm going to put the entire fucking collection out in the display case. It's not for sale. Just to let people know a little bit more about who we are, what we do, and these are the kinds of things that we tackle.
Well, there are so many different levels in the industry of people that you deal with. You want them to understand who you are, that first of all, you're a considerable business, but secondly, you have a friendly nature about it too. So yeah, I think it's important. Do you ever tailor what you bring for the show? In other words, you're going to Philly. Would you bring some extra Philly cards? We're looking at the list of guys who are at the show. Would you ever bring card? You're bringing a Randall Cunningham card?
I can tell you I'm bringing 2 Allen Iverson rookies to get signed.
Yeah.
And I have 20 Randall Cunningham rookies. I don't know if I'm going to get all 20 signed, but I figured if we're going to do some biz, maybe one hand washes the other. We get a discount. How you doing? We'll see.
Yep. Because I imagine if you don't come up here to Boston to the Wilmington show, but if you do come up to Boston, your collection, what you bring, would be a little bit tailored towards that.
Yes, very much so. High end, medium end, low end, whatever the case is, absolutely. When I was a younger kid, and like let's say I would set up at a Freehold Raceway Mall card show or the, Howell Route 9 flea market. Yeah, you bring Gehrig Jeter cards that are $1 a piece.
Yep.
You bring those to Boston, they're going to laugh you right out of there. You do that in central New Jersey, you're going to make a friend for life.
It'll be throwing Dunkin' Donuts at you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think we had a great episode today, Lou. We covered a lot.
Yes.
Topics. For those of you who are going to be in the area, please, I encourage you, come down to the Philly show this weekend. All the details are at phillyshow.com. We will be there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday during the day. Friday and Saturday night, just come on over to the craps table.
Oh, yeah, that's where we find you.
Sam, J5, and myself, we kind of just we try to form this little area that no one can bust into. Unfortunately, it's not that successful. But that's part of the fun of going. Who's going to be the first person to...
How can it not be successful? You basically have an offensive line there.
You know what's amazing about the Philly show? You got to go to the bathroom. You walk down from the casino. You hit the elevator. You go up to your room. When you're done in the bathroom, you go back downstairs to the casino. You have to really... It is not a huge casino, but it is intimate. And what's so cool is that the card show is literally in the bottom floor, the basement of it. And so, you know, if you get the urge, and I've done this only a couple times, but, you know, in recent times I've gambled enough I didn't feel like I needed to gamble on Sunday. I'm guilty of this, Lou. So it'll be like 1:30 on a Sunday. I'm going to leave in like an hour or two. I'm like, you know, I'm going to go upstairs and roll my few $100 at craps. And I got to be honest with you, I feel like an absolute fucking degenerate when I do it because there's no one around me.
Yep.
You know, but like I wanted to get my fix, if you will, my, you know, my few $100 win or lose, right? And it's always fun. They really do a nice job down there. And you know, the eats are good around that area. Capitol Grill, we're big fans of.
There you go. It's Zen with dice. There's nothing to feel degenerate about.
Oh man, I tell you, it's funny. I probably spent as much as a haircut as I'm willing to lose on in craps.
The new episode of Card Talk Therapy drops on Friday, you said?
Yeah, it'll drop on Friday. And remember, we'll be there all weekend at the show. So if you're going to be there, please stop on by. We'd love to open a pack with you, say hi, just talk about the hobby. It's going to be great.
All right, and we'll see you next week on The Loft.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.